Hello and good morning, it's Thach and I'm walking on Highway 30 here in Reliance, Tennessee. I've got Kacie with me and Heather's with me, and Heather picked this location. Right over there near where we parked is the Kacie River, really beautiful, and we are going to a trailhead which I think we've almost arrived at, which takes us to, what's the name of this waterfall, honey?
The Lowry Falls.
Takes us to Lowry Falls. Heather picked this spot. She found it on Tennessee landforms or something like that. And anyway, we've decided to come and check it out. It's Thanksgiving Day in the middle of the global pandemic. So later today we have a Zoom Thanksgiving to attend, and then still later than that we're going to go to, Kacie, this is it right here. Still later than that we're going to go to Heather's parents' house. But right now we are hiking to Lowry Falls, and we're going to be taking this trail right here, number 168, which has hiking and photography opportunities, and that's what we're going to take advantage of. We've been hiking on the trail for just a little while, and look, here's some rhododendron behind me there, and we've already come across kind of a pretty area on this little creek that flows down into the Kacie River. This is actually probably a place where we could take a picture right here. Pretty cool. So today we're using nothing but Z50s. I'm vlogging with a Z50, and all the photos are going to be with a Z50 of this beautiful area here. I've come to where I'm almost standing nearly in the creek, and I've got the spill from up there at the top of the hill coming down, a little bit of pretty light coming through. We're just barely after sunrise. It's overcast though today, and I've got this little spill on the left and a little spill on the right. I've got my polarizer on, and you can see as I turn the polarizer, the scene gets darker, and then there's more reflections here. And I've been shooting, I've tried f8, f10, and f11, right around a second, maybe a little more, is what I've been shooting. So here's that shot, and it turned out that the f8 version was the one that I liked the best. And you can see there's the main waterfall kind of in the background, and then in the foreground on the right there's a little spill, and then there's another little spill on the left, and this next photograph is just the little spill on the left, kind of getting its own detail shot. So my shot's kind of over here, and Heather, who can't quite get down to where I'm at, is shooting from up there. Hi Heather. What settings are you using?
F11.
F11. 1 second.
ISO 100.
ISO 100. She's got a polarizer on hers too. We're both using the same lens. We both have the 16 to 50 kit lens on Z50s. So this is Heather's vertical shot, and she's just shooting the right hand side of the lower area and the entire upper area, and she really captured that fallen tree well in her shots. There's a shot later in the video where I concentrate on just this little area that you can hardly see in this shot. Meanwhile, here's Kacie. She's being cute and just hanging around. Kacie found a way to get to this big rock that's a little ways downstream. So she's showing me, is this, oh yeah. Whoa, almost fell down. Thanks, pal. Here's a vertical composition that I made on the big boulder that Kacie found. This is, the main part of this shot is a spill that's just downstream from the one that I shot before. But there's a giant tree. There's a giant tree right here that blocks me from shooting the rest of the falls. But it is kind of cool the way it's leaning over. Maybe I'll try to do a horizontal shot that has all of that in it. This is the first shot that I worked on from the boulder, and I don't have the big tree in this shot at all. The upper part of this is the left-hand part of the waterfall that both Heather and I had photographed,
and the bottom part is an area you can only see from the boulder.
Well, it took some fiddling around, but I was able to get most of the interesting parts of the waterfall in the shot. I've got this little spill up here, not blocked by the tree, and this spill here not blocked by the tree, and this spill here that you can't see until you come downstream from where I originally shot. And it looks like Miss Heather has waddled down a little bit lower and is going to take a shot from where I did my first shot, or a similar spot. So let's see how that goes.
I like this composition because you can see the spill on the right and the spill on the left and the foreground spill and some of the spill back in the distance. But I think that the beautiful mossy tree is kind of too much of the photo, so I continued to work on it.
I'm working on a shot from right here. I really like the way this tree is. I've got the tripod flattened out, so the camera's sitting just about 2 inches above this boulder that Kacie found. And I like the shot. I like the tree in the top right of the shot. I think that's really cool. I love this little spill that's below where we did our main shot. And I moved as far to the left as I can so I can get that little spill that's to the right of the tree in the shot. But
I think this final version is my favorite version of the photographs from the boulder that Kacie showed me how to get to. In this one, I moved the big tree kind of to the top right of the frame, and it makes it where the photo is not all about the tree, but it's still a nice feature of it, and you can see lots of portions of the waterfall as well.
Heather's working on her shot. I think this is pretty close to where I made my first shot, although I may have made it from a little further over, but looks like, well, you were vertical a minute ago, and now you're horizontal again.
Yeah, I did several vertical shots. I really liked the vertical composition I had.
Yeah.
And I don't have an L bracket, so I just kind of flopped the tripod over 90 degrees and locked it good in place.
Yeah.
And I think it worked.
Yeah, well, that camera's so light.
Yeah.
That you can do the L bracketless vertical shot pretty easily, especially when you're using the little lens. I love that tiny polarizer that your camera came with. I've got a 77 millimeter adapter, so my polarizer's giant.
Yeah.
On the front.
Yeah, so now I'm trying, I'm at 16 millimeters. I don't know if I like it or not, but it does get all the falls in the shot, but it pushes that back a little further than I would like, so.
Yeah. You're trying to compress it some maybe and get a little closer?
Yeah, I would like to, but I just can't get all of it and compress it, you know what I mean?
I do.
Can't have your cake and eat it too.
I know it.
So this is Heather's shot of kind of this entire falls with the beautiful area at the top and then the split area at the bottom with the falls on the left and the falls on the right. And then here's another shot of that. This one zoomed in just a little bit. The previous was at 16 and this one's at 20.5. And this one has a big dork in the background of the photo. And then Heather also made, just like I did, we both made kind of a detailed shot of the left hand side of the foreground falls. But Heather was the only one to decide to make this shot where she totally ignored the foreground elements, the little spill on the left and the spill on the right. She zoomed all the way to 50 millimeters and just concentrated on the prettier part of the falls in the background. And in doing so, she really got a nice view of that fallen tree and the fog in the background. This is my favorite photo of the day.
Meanwhile, Kacie is staying warm as best as she can. I made another shot from right here. This is a little bit upstream from where we've been taking pictures. And this is a part of the little falls that you can't see from where we were taking pictures before. It kind of goes sideways instead of directly downstream. And those rocks on the left are kind of blocking this part of the falls from the picture. I'm very, very close to it. I'm probably 5 or 6 feet away from it. And let me show you how it looks big maybe in the picture, but look how small it is. See, it's little and cold.
This is the area of the falls where I put an arrow pointing to it in one of Heather's earlier pictures in the video. I thought it was a really beautiful area, maybe not the greatest picture ever, but I thought it was pretty enough to do a shot of.
Kacie and I did some scouting a little bit further up the trail, and After a while, it gets really, really crazy steep. Like Heather is not going to go there steep, but there is one more waterfall that we believe we can get to, so we're going to go up the trail just a little further and do some more shooting now. Okay, well, we've made it to our next waterfall. There's Kacie. I'm kind of going to set up a shot somewhere here in the middle of the creek, and I found a pretty cool spot for Heather where she's going to set up. It's kind of wet where I'm walking, but I want to show you where Heather's going to set up. Whoa. Heather's going to set up right over here, and she's going to have this cool shot going straight across at this little spill. We don't think this is the main waterfall, or maybe the previous one. The trail goes a little bit further, but it just gets a little bit too precarious for us. So we're going to set up right here. Boy, that's pretty looking down that way. So I've got my tripod just like a foot above these rocks with the creek flowing by me. And you can see the little waterfall up in the rule of thirds top right, and then there's a little bit more white water really near me, 3 or 4 feet from the camera, rule of thirds bottom left. And you can see some of the light spilling into the valley. And so this is my first composition from right here.
This one turned out kind of just okay. I was thinking it might be really special, but it's not really special. It's just okay.
So on this one, I've moved the tripod over just a little bit to the left of where I was for the last shot, and now I'm pointing directly straight upstream. And I've got a pretty cool little foreground interest, that little tiny spill directly in front of the camera. My shoes are getting wet because there's water flowing over them. And you can see some of the pretty light in the valley behind the waterfall, and there's lines of the waterfall kind of leading you to that light. And of course I'm polarizing. So this is pretty cool, and the camera's just, I've got it really low. I'm going to take a picture of it with my cell phone so you can see just how low the camera is.
I really wasn't thrilled with this one either, but I did kind of like this one where I used a 20-second timer to make a selfie. So I didn't like the photos from here, but the slow motion video from here is really cool, so stay tuned for that later in the video. And this is the shot that Heather made from up on the bank looking across, and it's kind of nice.
I put my long lens on the 50 to 250 and made a shot of just this most interesting section of the falls. I stepped way further back and tried to compress it, and I think it looks pretty cool.
By this time, Kacie decided that she was going to participate in this, and she didn't tell me about it, but she started making time lapses of me while I was working. And she made this entire time lapse handheld with her cell phone while I was using the long lens to make some detail shots of the waterfall that we were working on. And here is really the only one of those that I liked.
I made one last shot, this one a vertical, and I've got the falls, the main part of the falls. There's more falls over that way, but I don't have it in the shot. But I've got the falls and a little bit of foreground interest with the bubbles spilling by, and I've got some of the foggy light up in the trees. So I think I'll probably crop that to 4x5 vertical, and it might be pretty cool. We'll see.
So while I worked on this vertical shot, Kacie made another time lapse of me, and she time lapsed the entire thing. But by this time I kind of realized that she was time lapsing me, so as I got done, I worked on that entire video clip that I just made and the entire shot. But when I got done, knowing that she was time lapsing me, I decided to dance around ever so slowly so it wouldn't be too fast in the time lapse like a fool. And I'm playing the last 2.5 seconds of the time lapse many, many times. And this is the shot that I was working on during that, and this is the only shot of mine that I like of the upper waterfall, and I like it quite a bit.
Okay, well, I think we've done about all we can do. It's time to try to wobble our way back to the car. This has been fun at trail number 168 for Lowry Falls, which we don't know if we actually made it to Lowry Falls or not, but whatever we made it to was really pretty, and it's been a good time. So we appreciate you watching, and if you like the content, give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see some more, subscribe and hit the bell, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.